In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create an agreement template in Salesforce. This is a series of configurations that are saved so they can be reused. The Salesforce administrator will typically set this up so that users can use it when they want to send agreements for signature. So I'm going to start out on the Agreement Templates tab and click on New. So this begins the creation of a new agreement template. Then I enter a name for the template here. I'm just going to call it Demo Agreement Template to keep it simple. And next I'm going to choose the master object type that we want to send from in Salesforce. This refers to the object that we have in Salesforce where we want to send. And an important note here, this is actually the API name of the object. So if you have a custom object, for example, then this will need to be the API name. I'm going to send from the contact object because that's the document that I have set up. Now let's take a look at the agreement name, and you can see that this has been entered as a default, and I'm going to make a small change, and this is a neat little trick that you can use. And I'm going to do what we call a merge into the agreement name by using the Salesforce naming convention. I can actually insert the name field from the contact right into the agreement name. All I have to do is type open curly bracket, exclamation point, type the word name with a capital N, and then close curly bracket. Now let's take a look at some of the other most commonly used settings. We can add a default message here if we want, but I'm going to leave this blank. We can also choose the signature type. We can choose the language for the agreement, and the agreement template supports all the languages that Salesforce does. I can also choose to email a copy of the agreement to another recipient. I can set up reminders, and I'm going to set up every day until signed. Over here, we have some other options like enabling preview and position fields as a default, and I can also set an expiration date. Now all I need to do is to reference this to the account. In other words, how do I find the account ID relative to the contact? So the account ID is just called account ID. So again, I enter open curly bracket, exclamation point, account ID, close curly bracket. And that's it. I save, and this agreement as it stands will actually send. But there are two more elements that I want to add. First of all, we want to add the recipient. In other words, who it is we're going to send the agreement to be signed. So I scroll down here to add recipients and click on New Add Recipient. Now, the source of the recipient should be a lookup based on the master object field. So I just click this down arrow and choose Lookup based on master object field. And everything else stays the same. We have recipient type contact and recipient role signer. And then I click Next. And here we specify the source field from the master contact object, and we're going to leave that at contact ID because the contact that we choose is going to be the signer. And then I click Save. Now, last but not least, we also have to have a file attachment. Now, there are a couple of different options here. So let's scroll down and click on New Add File Attachment. And there are a couple of different options, as I said, and the one I'm going to choose is a document from the EchoSign library. Now, if you wanted to use a document stored in Salesforce, then you would choose Document from Content, and choosing Documents from Library will allow you to reference content in the Documents tab in Salesforce. Let's take a moment to see what this document looks like. This is the document I'm using, a basic customer information form that I created in Word, and I marked it up with text tags. And this is how it looks once I've created a document template with it in the EchoSign library. So back to Salesforce, and I click on Next. And here's the document I just showed you. I select that and click Save. So now there are two more elements that I want to add, the data mapping and the merge mapping. And you can find out how to do that in the upcoming tutorials.